In the early light of morning, when the world is still quiet and the breath of the earth has not yet stirred, a Zen monk rises, not with urgency, not with dread, but with a gentle awareness. Before the birds begin their songs, before the first footstep breaks the silence, there is a moment of stillness, and in that moment, peace is born. There is no alarm clock screaming for attention, no frantic rush to get somewhere. The monk's day does not begin with the outside world, but with the inside one. He opens his eyes as if greeting an old friend. He takes a single breath. Not deep, not dramatic, just enough to remember that he is alive. This is not a habit built from discipline but from reverence. Reverence for life, for now, for this very breath. The monk steps lightly from his bed, the floor beneath his feet cool and grounding. There is no carpet to muffle the contact with the earth, no distraction between skin and ground, just presence. The first act of the day is not coffee or checking a phone, but bowing, a simple bow. To what? To life, to the path, to the mystery, to the silent invisible thread that connects all things. Bowing is not submission, it is not weakness, it is an acknowledgement. It is the body whispering what the mind often forgets. I am not the center of the world. I am part of something vast and sacred, and in that truth, there is peace. Then comes the ritual of water, washing the face, rinsing the hands, a symbolic cleansing, not just of skin but of yesterday's dust, yesterday's mistakes, regrets, thoughts. Let it be washed away. Let it return to the stream. Begin again clean, not because you are broken, but because you are becoming. The monk steps into the morning air, whether cold or warm, and greets it without resistance. Nature is not an inconvenience, it is a teacher. The rustle of leaves is a sutra. The chill in the air is a koan. The sky, gray or gold, speaks of impermanence. And the monk listens. Always he listens. Before anything else, there is sitting, not to escape, not to accomplish. Just to sit, still, upright, silent. Not because it feels good, sometimes it doesn't, but because there is something deeper than comfort. There is presence. There is return. As the breath moves in and out like waves on the shore, thoughts come and go like birds across the sky. The monk does not chase them. He does not swat them away. He lets them pass. This is how peace is cultivated, not by controlling the mind, but by watching it with soft eyes. A monk once said, "You should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day, unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour." Because stillness is not what you do when you have time. It is what creates time, what stretches it, deepens it, makes space for the soul. Later, as the community gathers for chores, there is no grumbling, no sense of have to. Whether sweeping the floor, chopping vegetables, or scrubbing pots, the monk treats each task like prayer. Because it is. There is no hierarchy in the monastery between meditation and mopping. One simply places their full attention into what the hands are doing, and suddenly, even the most mundane becomes sacred. When the Buddha was asked how he achieved enlightenment, he answered, "I eat, I sleep, I walk." And when asked again, he said, "I eat when I eat, I sleep when I sleep, I walk when I walk." This is the way of the monk, doing only what he is doing, fully, entirely, without drifting into what was or what might be. There is no multitasking in Zen, there is only now. You see, peace isn't found in a place or a possession. It isn't locked away in a temple or hidden in some secret text. It is found in the way you pour tea, in the way you tie your shoes, in how you listen when someone speaks. The monk knows this, so every act is a brushstroke in the painting of peace. One of the oldest stories told in the Zen tradition is of a monk who carried water every morning from a distant well. Up the hill he would climb, 2 buckets balanced across his shoulders, day after day, year after year. When asked why he did not ask for help or find a shortcut, the monk replied, "Because with every step the water becomes sweeter. The habit of effort, the habit of patience, the habit of presence. These are the things the monk carries, not to impress, not to achieve, but because each one shapes the inner world. Throughout the day the monk remains observant, not just of tasks but of the mind. When irritation arises, he notes it. When judgment comes, he bows to it, not to agree but to acknowledge. And then he lets it go. Emotions are clouds, thoughts are shadows. The monk does not fight them. He watches, he allows, and through allowing they pass. To live in this way is not to be perfect. It is not to be unaffected. It is to be aware. To choose again and again to return to the breath, to the now, to compassion, to meet pain with softness and joy with humility, to greet both with the same bowed head. Even the meals are a form of meditation. No one eats while scrolling a screen. No one talks mindlessly. The food is honored, chewed slowly, appreciated. A grain of rice is not just a grain. It is the sun, the soil, the rain. It is the hand that planted and the hand that picked. Gratitude is not spoken, it is lived. At night, the monk returns to silence, not as a retreat, but as a homecoming. He lights a candle or incense, maybe chants a single verse. Then he reflects, not on what he accomplished, but on how he lived. Was I kind? Was I present? Was I honest? These are the questions, not asked with guilt, but with gentleness. As a gardener asks the soil what it needs. And then he sleeps, not to escape, but to rest. With no fear of tomorrow, no grasping for more. Just the soft acceptance of the day's final bow. Peace is not a prize at the end of struggle. It is the way you touch the day, the way you carry yourself through the wind and the noise. Zen monks know this, they live this, and though their life may seem far from yours, their habits are not beyond reach. Wake with reverence, sit with stillness, work with presence, eat with gratitude, rest with reflection. These are not rules, they are invitations, and the door is always open. There is a quiet strength in repetition, a sacredness in the ordinary when met with presence. Zen monks do not perform miracles or seek glory. They master the unseen, the breath, the still gaze, the deliberate hand. In every moment, they return. After the sun has risen, but before the world has fully awakened, the monk tends to the garden. Not to make it beautiful in the eyes of others, but to listen. The earth speaks in silence, in the rhythm of a rake over stone, in the whisper of wind through bamboo leaves, in the resistance of roots buried deep. The garden, like the mind, grows wild without care, but the monk does not fight its wildness. He shapes it gently. He lets the weeds teach patience, the blossoms teach impermanence. There is no desire to make the garden last forever. What blooms will fade, what is planted may not rise, but this too is the lesson. The only thing permanent is change. And so, in this tending, there is a surrender, a willingness to participate in something that cannot be controlled, and in that surrender, peace takes root. In the monastery, meals are shared in silence, not as punishment, but as reverence. The clink of a bowl, the steam rising from rice, the quiet gestures of gratitude, all are part of a ceremony that nourishes more than the body. Before the first bite, the monk reflects inwardly. I receive this food with gratitude. I accept it to strengthen my practice. May I be worthy of this gift. This inner dialogue is not a prayer to a god, but a call inward, a reminder that everything comes from somewhere, that nothing is owed, that to eat is to be connected, to the farmer, the earth, the rain, the sun. And even in hunger, there is no greed, just appreciation. It is said that a Zen master once placed a single raisin in the palm of his student's hand and said, "Taste this as if it were the first fruit you have ever known." The student, confused, obeyed. As he held it, smelled it, tasted it, something changed. The raisin became more than food. It became a universe of sensation, and in that moment the monk smiled. "Now," he said, "you understand Zen." Another practice often overlooked is walking, not walking for exercise or to get somewhere. Walking as meditation. The monk steps slowly, with awareness in every movement, heel, then toe. Breath in, step forward, breath out, step again. The body becomes a metronome of mindfulness. On the outside, this appears simple, but internally it is a revelation. Each footstep kisses the earth. Each pause becomes an arrival. In Zen, walking is a form of prayer, not with words, but with weight, with presence. It is said that when the Buddha walked, the grass beneath his feet would bloom. Whether that is truth or myth does not matter. What matters is that presence leaves a mark. The monk may also spend time in study, not to accumulate knowledge but to strip away illusion. A single verse from a sutra may be enough for a lifetime, because wisdom is not measured in what you remember, but in what transforms you. The goal is not to fill the mind but to quiet it, to allow space for the heart to hear. One teaching says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears. Zen points us not to answers but to seeing, to the direct experience of truth without clinging to form. And when emotions arise, as they always do, the monk does not run. Anger, sorrow, longing, they are not enemies, they are guests, visitors who knock on the door of the heart. The monk opens the door, bows, and listens. "What are you here to show me?" he asks. This is not weakness, it is courage. It is the bravery of sitting with discomfort until it reveals its lesson. In one ancient parable, a young monk was plagued by fear during his meditation. Every time he closed his eyes, a dark presence would appear. One day, rather than resisting, he bowed to the darkness and said, "Come, sit with me, tell me what you need." The shadow wept. And then it vanished. Peace, the monk learned, is not in the absence of fear, but in friendship with it. And so, as dusk falls, the monastery returns to silence. Candles flicker like small suns. The wind tells stories as it dances through the eaves. The monk writes in his journal, not accomplishments, but awarenesses. Today I felt envy. I named it. I did not feed it. I let it pass. Or perhaps, today I saw a dragonfly land on my hand. I was still enough not to startle it. Small things perhaps, but in Zen, the small is the gateway to the infinite. The dragonfly becomes a teacher. The silence, a sanctuary, the reflection, a path. As the final bell of the day echoes across the mountain, the monk bows once more, to the day, to the practice, to the mystery of it all. And in that bow there is no shame, no regret, only presence, only peace. You too can bow, wherever you are, in your kitchen, on your walk, in the quiet moment before sleep. You can bow to your breath, to your thoughts, to your journey. You do not need robes, you need only sincerity. And when the world pulls you into noise, into hurry, into forgetting, you can return. With one breath you can come home. The monk has not shown you something you do not already know. He has only reminded you that peace is not a place, it is a way. And you, dear one, are already on the path.